So now that Star Trek Picard has ended, I figured it was time to take a quick break from modern Trek to share something that is really honestly personal to me. I know a lot of you come to my channel because I share with you impassioned, deep analysis of Star Trek and how Star Trek teaches us to be better humans, how to grow and learn as a culture and civilization, and how Star Trek has both failed and succeeded in its attempt to show us a brighter tomorrow. So I want to take this video to really talk about the episode that I think really captures that true spirit of Star Trek. That honestly, whenever I lose faith of the heart or just need to feel inspired about the future again, and heaven knows we need that right now, I turn on this episode. This is what I think is my favorite episode of Star Trek, and what I think truly may be the best episode of the franchise ever produced in its 50-year history. And I think all of you know what episode I'm about to talk about. It's a little episode called Threshold.
I beg your pardon.
Yes, that little gem of an episode from Star Trek Voyager's second season. Threshold follows the efforts of one of Star Trek's most beloved characters, Tom Paris, as he tries to break the Warp 10 barrier. Right up front, we see the true spirit of Star Trek here in this episode, an episode all about nonsensical technobabble nonsense. I mean, listen to this word salad of really technical terms.
The subspace torque rips in a cell off the shuttle.
The hull of the shuttle is made of titanium alloy. It remains stable at a much higher warp frequency. A duranium alloy. Create a velocity differential, infinite velocity. Dark matter nebula to set up a depolarization matrix around the fuselage. Quantum warp theory, crossing the transwarp threshold. The fuselage would be traveling at a faster rate of speed than the nacelle. That alloy could depolarize. A new form of dilithium. Dark matter bow wave. Subspace stress on the nacelles. Infinite velocity. Multispectral subspace engine design.
It's all truly thought-provoking stuff. It just expands my mind every time I listen to that scene. I'm like Neelix, sitting there just confused but really appreciating that I'm just there.
Time and distance would have no meaning.
Apparently, traveling at Warp 10 means that you occupy all places in the universe at once. Now, I don't even know what that means. Like, does going Warp 10 mean that you're literally standing in every single place in the entire universe? Like, even inside of people? Do you become like Q on Next Generation? Do you occupy parts of other spaces as well, like that dimension that species 8472 comes from? And what does that mean for all the other times in Star Trek where we saw people going faster than Warp 10, like on Next Generation where they go Warp 13?
Set course for the Devron system, Warp 13.
Or when the Borg do it literally all the time. Or, in that first episode of Voyager itself, where the caretaker pulled them across the galaxy in like 10 seconds. I really don't know, but I'm sure Voyager's writers are really grounding us in real science here, and that just inspires me. Speaking of inspiring, when asked to not go on the flight because it might give him a brain aneurysm, just like people who watch this episode complain about having afterwards for some reason, Tom Paris argues that he should still do the flight, giving us a rousing speech that stands up right up there with some of Trek's best speeches.
When I was a boy, my father used to tell me that I was special. That one day I'd do something significant. My teachers at school, all the kids, everyone used to say, Tom Paris is going to do something important when he grows up.
You know, as a millennial, I too was told I was special all the time, and therefore I believe that I'm entitled to greatness. I really see myself in this episode, you know? Tom goes on the mission, and Voyager loses track of him for the space of a commercial break, really giving us a true sense of tension in the writing structure of this episode. I really felt like Tom Paris might have died in those 10 seconds.
Wake up, Lieutenant!
And when we get back, Tom has completely changed because of the flight. And I mean completely. He starts suffering and his body changes. These scenes also give us great lines like this.
Pepperoni! God! God, I'd love a pepperoni pizza with Caberry and olives right now. I'm starving!
Truly Trek at its finest. Tom continually changes, deteriorating into a horrific monster thing, and he has a real moment of clarity.
How do you know this isn't the best thing that's ever happened to me?
That's a possibility.
I mean, this is your best moment, Tom. This is the best moment for Tom Paris right here. This episode just makes me so happy. After spitting out his tongue, because apparently you lose your tongue after you go to Warp 10, Tom starts yelling about how the future is the present and the present is the past, or I don't know, some such stuff like that.
The present, the past, they're both in the future. The future is in the past. I beg your pardon.
It's all really deep, intriguing ideas, and something that I wish Star Trek Picard or Discovery would really go deep on. But sadly, I don't think these kind of deep philosophical discussions are really ever going to happen on modern Trek, but, you know, what can you do? Eventually, Turtle Tom escapes and kidnaps Janeway to take her at Warp 10. Voyager takes 3 days to find them, despite the fact that they could have literally gone anywhere in the universe, but supposedly Tom only wanted to go a hop, skip, and a jump away, so it turned out to be fine. Apparently, in this amount of time, just 3 days, Janeway and Tom turned into lizards, because Warp 10 accelerates your natural evolutionary process, and apparently in the future, humans evolve into lizards. Yet again, this episode helps me learn so much. I thought that evolution was a process of natural selection, where environmental factors help determine what traits a species keeps as they go through evolution. But no, Threshold taught me that evolution is actually a predetermined path where the future of our species is already hard-coded into our DNA. This type of learning is what I come to Trek for. Lizard Tom and Janeway had little lizard babies, which the Voyager crew promptly ignores and kidnaps their lizard crewmen back, leaving the babies alone, cruelly torn from their parents on a harsh alien world where they will surely die from starvation. But, you know, that's okay, because Tom and Janeway get completely turned back from lizards into humans in the space of about 5 minutes, with no residual effects or lingering awkwardness over the fact that they boned as lizards. Which really just showcases how Star Trek has an evolved humanity in the future, where such things as weird lizard sex with your boss won't affect social situations and really will have no bearing on your future career prospects.
But I can't ignore what you've done. I hereby reduce you to the rank of ensign, and I sentence you to 30 days solitary confinement.
And that's the end of the episode. Like I said, I really love Threshold. From its realistic science, to its deep philosophical discussions, to its display of evolved human sentimentality. This is Star Trek in its purest form. Truly better than anything Alex Kurtzman can come up with, am I right? But the real reason that I identify with this episode so much, is how Tom and Janeway's weird, creepy lizard evolution speaks to me as a trans person. As someone who has also had to work at transition into a newer, more evolved version of myself, I just can't help but see the parallels to my experience here. How their transformation just shows that deep down, no matter what our gender identity is, we're all just lizard people underneath, trying to kidnap our bosses and have abandonable lizard babies with them. As a young kid, I would just watch this episode over and over and over again, knowing that this was the representation that I needed. Thank you, Voyager. Thank you, Star Trek. And thank you, Threshold, for giving that to me. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're staying safe out there, especially today on April 1st, which I think is supposed to be some sort of important holiday or something. I can't really remember. Well, I'm sure you guys will all tell me down in the comments below. Speaking of which, don't forget to subscribe, as I have my in-depth review of Star Trek Picard Season 1 coming up on this Friday, and I'm really excited to share it all with you. But until then, and until next time, I'm just glad that you stopped by, and I hope that you, as always, live long and prosper. And special thanks to my commander level and above Patreons, Eli Berg-Moss, Stefan Schuthart, Boyd and Marybeth Earl, Michael McGee, Lal Lindley, Wellington Marcus, Inar Sigurdsson, Marika Kwiechin, Munir Amlani, Mari Nekar, and Polly Mina.